Right, we're here at Cranbourne for the Spring Cash Splash, and I'm catching up with Anthony Butt, who wears quite a few hats. Firstly, Ant, it's a great place, this Cranbourne, isn't it? I know people will be saying, he gets paid to say that. I actually don't. I come here tonight to promote what they're doing, the club he's doing, and it's outstanding what they're doing here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a really good club, Paul, and as I said, we all know it's probably the wrong side of town for most people, but Sunday night it's a pretty easy drive to get here, and they're doing their best.
Clearly, James might have forgot a bucket by the looks because he come through to pinch the bucket. They are doing their best. Small fields tonight, which is a little bit disappointing, but they've announced $50,000 worth of incentives for the industry. We've all been taking a haircut, if you like, with stake money reductions and that. And what their initial part is outstanding. $42,000 goes back into stake money, and then $8,000 for a spring bonus for the trainers. Look after your owners and look after the trainers. It's a great little incentive, I think.
Yeah, well, the trainers they make the decision to come here most of the time, so you got to reward them because they just said they're, filling up.
We need them to fill the truck.
Yeah, they're filling up their truck and putting diesel in it every week, and doing the long hours on a Sunday night, which is not ideal, but it's the way it is, and it's probably the only night they can race here really with the traffic and that for most people to get here easily. So yeah, it's gives you a bit of incentive to come, and that bit extra always helps.
Well, and we need that, and we need this club to be prospering. We need betting turnover at all tracks. We don't want to lose any more tracks or lose any more races. So these ideas need to be highlighted and got out there. As I said, you're the president of the owners and trainers, and that you must be wrapped from that point of view of what's going on. But there's still quite a few positive things happening in the industry just at the minute. Yeah,
there's bits and pieces happening, Paul, isn't there? As I said, the last sort of couple of years have been, reasonably tough with lower stakes for the lower level. But the rest of it's going okay, and I think we've hit rock bottom there, and it's only one way we can go is up. So, but when you see clubs like this putting extra back in, to support the people that support them, it's really good.
We've got the Summer Carnival coming up, and you and I touched on it, I think, in our last interview that we did, and it's really starting to take shape now, and it looks exciting. When you see that spreadsheet out, if you like, with all the gold, with the groups, the different colours, and I know that does look after the top end, but that has a flow-on effect, but it's going to be a very exciting 7 weeks, if you like, that Summer Carnival.
Yeah, it is, Paul. Yeah, no, it's great. It's all sort of condensed together because, everyone will come. You don't have to go back and forward so much, and the Kiwis, hopefully a few of them will come and, maybe bring another horse or two. So, yeah, it just means you can, as I said, we get everything in that 6 or 7 week period, and the spotlight will be on Victoria.
I'll talk about the flow-on effect. You came from New Zealand. You initially came over and just took everything and went back to New Zealand. You then moved here and stayed and still were able to win a lot of those good races. But it does mean a lot to have people targeting races. I know everyone knows the second Tuesday in November is a New Zealand Cup. People want to be there. If we can get it back to that, there is a flow-on effect that actually will happen for the industry. Yeah,
and I think I think it's really important that each state and island of New Zealand gets their sort of time in the sun. Like we all know New Zealand Cup time in Christchurch in November, and then Queensland have doing a really good job in sort of June, July. So that's their spot, and so if Victoria can take hold of January and sort of early February, that's great, and then it leads into the Miracle Mile Carnival. So, yeah, I think it's really good if we can separate the carnivals, and each state has sort of a month or 6 weeks in the sun.
Highlight the sport that we all love.
That's right, yeah, and it means, as we know, you might have one good horse, but you're targeting that, but you take a couple others with it, and I'm sure that'll be the case with people like Grant Dixon and Luke McCarthy and, even the Purdens and Cran Dalgiddy from New Zealand. So, yeah, hopefully, the more the merrier.
Yeah, absolutely, and makes great racing, which makes betting turnover, which then has that flow and effect going down the industry, and hopefully we get away from these $4,000 races, which we want. We want to get up. We want to get away from the $6,000 races, but we need to sort of start going that way, which we are. The other one I did want to touch on with Anson, I didn't say this beforehand, but the breeding bonuses to either go back to breeding a horse or go to the yearling sales and purchase a horse, and it doesn't matter which yearling sale it does. I should say that it does, as long as it's an Australian yearling sales here in Melbourne, so APG or Nutrien. A lot's been said to me. I've had a few people turn around and say to me that they can't eat vouchers, which I understand, and I'm sure you do. But the government have come on board with these vouchers, and I think they're positive. I'm curious as your thoughts on them as well.
Well, I think anything like that's positive. It's better to have them than not have them. And yeah, as I said, people will, they're forced to spend them in those ways, but that's the way it is, and that's the government, us to, the industry to spend money back into the industry. So, yeah, I think it's good. It's, might encourage people to, if you win a 2 or 3 races, you might have 10 or 15,000 to spend and go and buy a yearling, So, yeah, like everyone likes cash in their pocket, but, this is probably the next best thing, and, it's definitely going to encourage you to, either to put a mare to stud or buy a yearling, so it's the only way you can spend them, really.
And the reality is, you and I both know that the government weren't going to give us cash like people turn around and say, well, it should have been going back, but that was never going to happen. And even if it did, the money that we're getting wouldn't have touched the sides, really, as far as stake money increases.
That's right, yeah. So, we're forced to, the government sort of forced their hand a little bit, but, said better to have it than not have it. So just hope it gets spread around a bit, and, a few of the little guys, pick up some of the vouchers along the way. And so, yeah, that's the main thing. The main worry I'd have is that, doesn't all go to the top end. So hopefully, there's plenty of, smaller people that get some along the way.
They start this week, I think, 1st of September, so I think they start tomorrow. So it'd be interesting to see. I know there's one in at Ballarat, because we've got a horse nominated in one of those races, so which is cool. With your owners and trainers hat on, or any hat you want to wear, any other news for me?
No, it's all pretty quiet, Paul, just ticking away, and yes, a few things, plenty of things we're working on behind the scenes, but yeah, it's not easy, but as I said before, I think we've hit rock bottom, so hopefully there's only one way we can go.
One thing I'll say, that there's plenty of people positively pushing in the right direction, I think, in the industry, probably a lot more than what some people see and think that are trying to drive it forward. Yeah,
well, people, like I read the comments on social media and they kind of think about how bad Victoria's going, but we're actually not too bad, apart from the low horses that are racing for 4,000, and but once you've got a horse, above 50, that it's raced for a bit more, and then the Metro Prime money's still pretty good, and then obviously we have so many big races throughout the year, so it's not all doom and gloom. So
gives you something to aspire to, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I think someone said to me, if you don't want to race for 4,000, get a better horse. So yeah. It's not always that easy, but we still need those horses down the bottom ranks to fill the fields and create betting opportunities for people. So it's hard to get it sort of right, to get the match right, but. Yeah, the boys at HRV and the racing office and at Glenlee, that they do a great job of trying to extract every dollar we can out of the punters. Yeah, absolutely. Hans, thank you. You haven't had a winner tonight, either. Any chance of getting a winner tonight? No, I just got one on the last now, so just probably an each way chance. We've got that many videos up there. I don't think you have to worry, it'll go out after that race, so you'll be fine, so it'll be all good. Mate, thank you. Always great for a chat. As I said, great things they're doing here at Cranbourne with the spring, what is it? The Spring Cash Splash is what it's called. It's a mouthful. But yeah, I think it's great things that they're doing, and a bit more prize money into their cup as well, so well done to those guys. But thanks for joining me, mate. No, thanks, Paul.